Raging floods have been wreaking havoc in different parts of the country, even here in the capital city. We have the latest on that update for you here on TV 47 News Now. But first, the highlights.
News Now. Search efforts for those reportedly swept away by floodwaters in various areas continue, with the Del toll reportedly reaching over 50.
Bere South, tumekuwa na watu wawili wameaga kwa sababu juu ya maneno ya flooding. Mwea watu wawili wameaga.
Lecturers at Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology expressed their support for doctors on strike.
We are closely monitoring the government's response to the doctors' strike. We view the government actions in tackling the strike as a reflection of its lack of commitment to the welfare of its citizens.
As legislators meet doctors' union to try and resolve the impasse. And the UDA party conducts the first phase of grassroots leaders elections in Nairobi, Homa Bay, Narok, Busia and West Pokot counties.
That is the voice of Eval Rugam. Once again, welcome on board. Good afternoon. 2 minutes to the top of the hour East African time. My name is Moige William. This is TV 47 News Now. Now let us bring you up to speed. Search activities for those reportedly swept away by flood waters in various areas such as Mathare in Nairobi County continue, with deaths attributed to the floods reportedly exceeding 50. The heavy rainfall ongoing has caused floods that have displaced many families, with many affected families forced to seek shelter in schools and churches.
Mimi kama mtu wa hii area ningependa kuomba serikali tafadhali waweze kuleta msaada, wasaidie wamama. Wengine vitu zao zilienda na maji, wengine wamepitia shida mgumu tangu mvua inyeshe, wengine manyumba zao zilienda na maji. Sasa tunaomba rais, tunaomba serikali yote ya Kenya kwanza, pamoja na wale viongozi ambayo wana uwezo ya usaidizi, wakuje waangazie hii maneno na waweze kupitisha usaidizi kwa hawa wamama na mayatima ambayo wamebaki.
Mungu tu asaidie mvua isinyeshe tena, sababu kama ingenyesha tungeenda, sababu sasa level ya maji ilikuwa karibu na mahali tulikuwa tumepanda juu kwa nini? Kwa paa.
Kuna kitu niliyoweza kuokoa, maana maji vile ilikuja watu tulifanya kutoka kwenda mahali pa juu ili tusiumie, kwa sababu huwezi kung'ang'ana na vitu na maji inakuja na mbio. Na sisi ni watu wa Budalangi, tunajua hiyo mambo ya mafuriko, na ndiposa tuliama mapema tukaenda kuomba majirani mahali pa kukaa ili tuone kesho kukikucha itakuwaje, na ndiposa tukapata nafasi hapa kwa shule, na ndiposa tuko hapa sasa.
All right. Also, our cameras are still on in the neighboring county of Makueni to take a spot check on matters floods, whereby a family in the Makindo area of Makueni County is now calling on the government to collaborate with various organizations to assist in the search for the body of their relative who was swept away by the waters of the Kiboko River earlier this week. The family of Musingila Mwanza, who disappeared in the waters, adds that the young man was a pillar of support for his elderly mother. They are saddened and mournful as they may miss the opportunity to find his body if they do not receive professional assistance.
Tumepoteza mtu wetu na maji akienda kazi, na saa hii tumetafuta hatumupati. Kwa hivyo tunasikia uchungu sana, tunataka tusaidiwe. Yule ni yeye alikuwa anategemewa ni mama yake hapa kwa ile kazi alikuwa anafanya. Saa hii mama ako peke yake.
Alikuwa anasaidia mama. Akachukuliwa na maji. Alikuwa mtu mpole.
Huyu kijana anaonekana ni kama alikuwa tegemeo la familia hii, na mama yake ni mama mzee zaidi, hajiwezi. Ni kama kwamba huyu kijana ndiye alikuwa masalia hapa katika hii familia pamoja na mama yake.
In Embu County, the county commander, Jack Obuo, has confirmed that 5 people have drowned in flood waters since heavy rains began in Embu County. He has added that they are continuing to assess the situation, especially in the 16 villages that are at risk of flooding. He stated whereby the Disaster Management Committee is ready to ensure the safety of the county residents.
Cases ya drowning Mbere South tumekuwa na watu wawili wameaga kwa sababu juu ya maneno ya flooding. Mwea watu wawili wameaga kwa sababu ya flooding. Embu West pia tumekuwa na case moja, na pia tuna monitor na tunaangalia sana zile areas ambayo tunasema ziko prone for landslides. Sana sana Embu East, tume map out about 4 villages, 4 or 5. Na kuna barabara fulani, Gikuri Road, pia tunaangalia kwa sababu tuko na cracks ambayo imeanza na tunahofia kwamba hizo cracks inaweza kuwa kama ita lead to landslides.
All right, that is the situation in Embu County. But now let us give you a nationwide outlook on the situation matters floods, whereby more than 100,000 people have been displaced in the country following the heavy rains that have burst riverbanks, causing floods in more than 24 counties in the country. The floods have caused the deaths of more than 38 people, while others remain displaced. The displaced flood victims have been forced to camp in schools, dispensaries, or even churches, with fears that schools may not resume next week as scheduled.
This is a clear picture that depicts the current situation in the country, where most people affected by the heavy rains causing floods and camping to at least get a place to lay their heads.
Ni shauri ya maji. Mvua inanyesha nyingi na maji imefika paka kwa nyumba. Sasa hatuna maisha tunaweza tukaishi. Ndipo tumeona kama tukuja hapa juu ya Simbi, nipe tuwe na makao.
Mpaka nikajirudia nikashindwa nitafanya nini. Hata sina kitu ya kufunika. Wale watoto wangu hata kitabu ya kwenda shule Monday sina yani, hata vile mnaniona hivi mimi sina hata pesa. Ni jirani ndiye amenisaidia.
Those displaced by the floods are facing challenges at the places where they are camping as they lack basic needs. Some say that they have fears that teenagers may easily get lured into engaging into bad behaviors, leading to the rise of teenage pregnancy.
I find that most of our girls are at risk of one, getting pregnant. We have the problems of early pregnancy, and they are at risk of even getting married at this point, because if someone offers a solution right now, it's easy to go with that.
School heads also fear that the affected families camping in schools will affect the opening of schools next week. The Education Principal Secretary Belio Kipsang has however said that the government has put up measures for schools to resume normally next week.
We've been blessed with quite some rain, and I know yesterday the President directed a multi-agency team to be able to deal with the challenges that have come with the rains. And these are part of the preparation of ensuring that our children will smoothly fit into their schools next week as we open.
Anastasia Mkabi, TV47.
Thank you, Mukabi, for that nationwide outlook on matters floods. Now let us shift gears. Health Committee in the National Assembly early today organized a meeting with the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacist and Dentist Union and the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers to evaluate the resolutions of the doctor strike, which has entered its 44th day today.
Time that we now deal with this issue of this Council of Governors Secretariat being an illegal entity. Because I think if it was domiciled at the ITGRC where the law mandates it to be there, I think they would have taken this matter seriously.
Officers who are not attending this important meeting are actually the cause of the deaths of these Kenyans.
And the time for bucks passing and grandstanding
has to stop. Honorable Kiborek, these people have money. Finding somebody 500,000 shillings in today's world is nothing. So we had enhanced the fine to 2 million shillings. We want you to pass that amendment very quickly, Honorable Nyikal. We want powers of arrest. We want Parliament to have powers to arrest people. Because I know where Waiguru is. Right now, if I had those powers, I could bring her here. Because I know she's watching. I know where she's watching these proceedings from.
And if it is true, the way Senator Sifuna is putting it, that Chair COG is watching these proceedings from the comfort of our office, I'm telling you, shame on you, Waiguru. Shame on you. And your group of vipers, the way Jesus Christ told the Pharisees.
Maternity. I went there. Per day, the women delivery is 30 and 40 above. But now, since the strike, there is none there.
If the sun claims superiority over the moon, let it shine at night. The same Council of Governors will come to us and seek for further addition of revenue. They'll come for us asking for budget. And at the moment when we want to discuss issue, they are claiming superiority. Chair, we want to tell them, shame on you.
All right, still on doctor strike. Lecturers at Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, also popularly known as GOtv, have expressed their support for doctors who are on a national strike. Members of the University Academic Staff Union, that is UASU, state that they stand firmly with the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacist and Dentist Union, that is KMPDU, and they urge the government to address the issues raised by doctors. The lecturers who marched alongside KMPDU members led by branch chairperson James Gidenji expressed concerns that the impasse may disrupt the training of medical students in various universities.
The teaching fraternity in Jomo Kenyatta is committed to the well-being of our students and the broader community, and we are closely monitoring the government's response to the doctor strike. We view the government actions in tackling the strike as a reflection of its lack of commitment to the welfare of its citizens, and we demand swift resolution to alleviate the suffering and uncertainty by all stakeholders.
Interns are not people who are not students. They are doctors. In fact, they are the A students who have performed the best in their high school. They have gone to the university, they have spent 6 years. By the time a doctor is finishing training after 6 years, a person who was doing a 4-year course has already gotten a job and they worked for over 2 years. So it is an insult to tell the doctors who have graduated and they are now going back to the hospital where they have started. People who are in medical profession here can confirm that a first-year student studies in the hospital.
Now let us once again switch gears to a different matter. The funeral of Sergeant John Kenywa, who died in a plane crash 1 week ago, has been conducted in Kirinyaga County. The burial is taking place at Kirimunge Primary School. Muredi was one of the officers involved in the helicopter crash that occurred in Sinda area, that is in Elgeyo Marakwet County, on April 18th, this year of 2024. Kirinyaga County lost 2 officers, and the funeral of another officer, that is Sergeant Rose Nyawera, took place yesterday, Thursday, in the same county.
He was not only a brave soldier, but a loved son, spouse, sibling, and a friend. His departure is indeed a great loss to his family, to the entire nation, and Kirinyaga County in particular. He may no longer walk amongst us, but his spirit lives on in the cherished memories, the accomplishments he made, and the lives he impacted.
So it's my plea to all the warring people within the North Rift, so that we can honor these foreign soldiers. Tafadhali, munaweza acha hii maneno and the Lagos, even cattle hustlers, if you are hearing me, tuachane na hii maneno so that our KDF waache kwenda huko, tusikakue na kitu kama hiyo.
Nataka pia nichukue nafasi hii nitoe rambirambi zangu kwa jamii yote
ya familia marehemu Senior Sergeant Kinyua, pia na wanakijiji wa hapa na pia wanajeshi wetu wa KDF. Nasema pole kwa kumpoteza mwanajeshi ambaye alikuwa mkakamavu.
We will work with her just like we've been working. We will be her pillar, her strength. She can count on us as DML 07 September class. And the Lord be with you, Grace. The Lord strengthen you. The word of God tells us that the Lord is the husband to the widows.
Condolence to the bereaved families of all the soldiers we lost in that crash. Now, the UDA party is conducting its grassroots leaders election in counties including Nairobi, Busia, Narok, West Pokot and Homa Bay. According to the Electoral Board Supervisor Anthony Moora, polling stations are open at 9 in the morning and they will close, or rather have closed at 3 p.m. here in Nairobi County, which has an estimate of 853,000 members. A tight contest is expected for the chairmanship position, contested by Governor Johnson Sakaja and Embakasi North Member of Parliament James Gakuya.
We didn't know how big the problem was before we got into the polling station, but we have been able to establish now, at least for this station, so far, only 2 out of 10 people are able to vote, meaning that only with every batch of 10 people, only 2 are able to vote. I was able to demonstrate to the polling clerks that I am a registered member as per the register that is on the party's portal. However, when it comes to the gadget, I do not appear as a bona fide voter. So it is quite a big problem of great magnitude. And you can imagine that if out of every 10, only 2 are able to vote, then it is something that in the course of the day, we need to see how the party is planning to resolve that. Because if that be the case, then it would mean then that this is a way bigger problem than I had imagined before we came to cast the ballot. Yeah.
Maybe how do you describe this election?
Well, I would call it a bold attempt. I would call it a big experiment, and being a bold attempt and being a very big experiment, we can only judge it by the results. So in a few hours, we will be able to say whether we are conducting a representative democratic election or whether we have had a sham grassroots election. Too early to tell, but...
All right, speaking right there is Kiari, a Member of Parliament for Dagoretti North. Now, still on matters, those primaries of UDA, or rather the grassroots elections of UDA. In Homa Bay, West Pokot, Busia, Narok and Nairobi, UDA Secretary General Cleophas Malala has acknowledged hiccups in Nairobi and has pleaded with UDA members to be patient as the problem is getting sorted. Among the challenges experienced in Nairobi, the names of some members were not available in the register. Speaking in Omolo Agar polling station in Karachuonyo, Homa Bay County, the Secretary General has appreciated the turnout in Homa Bay, saying it was a clear manifestation of democracy, saying that at the end of the day, the process and the result will be transparent and accurate.
Sasa hivi watu 180 wameshapiga kura hapa katika kituo hiki, na hii ni ishara kwamba watu wa Homa Bay na watu ambao wamejiandikisha kama wanachama wa UDA wamejitokeza kwa wingi sana. Nimefurahia kwa sababu mumeona tunatumia mtandao kupiga kura. Hakuna maneno ya karatasi. Unaenda pale, unapata jina lako iko kwa register, na nimefurahia kwamba hata wamama wamefurahia kupiga kura kwa njia ya dijitali. Tulikuwa na wasiwasi kwamba wengi wao hawataelewa kupiga kura, lakini nimegundua hapa watu wako digital kabisa. 1 or 2 eaches in Nairobi County pertaining the register. Some of the people who woke up early in the morning did not find themselves in the register, and I want to believe that is just a technicality that the National Elections Board is able to deal with. Immediately have liaised with them and they are up to task, and I'm sure by midday we will have resumed voting in all those polling stations that had stopped. So people should be patient with the voting exercise. This is the first time you are using the digital platform. 1 or 2 hiccups is expected to happen, and therefore tolerance is highly recommended.
Almost 500 people have voted already. I'm also registered as a UDA member. We are happy with the party, and we hope by the end of the day, the voters will have voted at least 80%.
This thing is a democratic one, and there's no tension. People thought that it would have been tension, but it is good, and we are happy that the Luos have turned, and the process is on in Homa Bay County.
All right, with a lot of certainty, TV47's political affairs senior reporter Apollo Kamau still keeping tabs on matters UDA grassroots elections, and more details in our subsequent bulletins. Now, the Kenya National Union of Teachers, that is KNUT, Bomet branch, has called on the county government to allow early childhood teachers in the area to join teachers' unions, led by Branch Secretary General Desmond Langat. They also urged the county government to address the plight of teachers who have been in dispute with county government over their salaries.
From information we have at hand, 2017 first governor had an MOU with the ECT teachers in Bomet, an agreement which was to give them leeway to be members of KNUT. Unfortunately, a very few of them, as we speak, including our BC brother Chebusiti, is a member. The rest has not been members because of the reluctance of the county government to subscribe and submit according by that MOU. Yeah. In Kenya, the law is very clear. SRC have given out very clear salaries for all the civil servants across the board. Yes. But here in Bomet, we are shocked to see salary in bracket. Where in Kenya do you have salary in bracket? When you put salary in bracket, you must explain in detail. Yeah. Why put it in bracket? Even us as teachers from Teacher Service Commission, our salaries are very clear. From the basic salary, where when you come to house allowance, commuter, very clear, up to the cross and net. But according to what we have at the moment, it is very ambiguous, and we need to know.
Elsewhere, police used tear gas to disperse a group of protesters in the Nairobi city center who are complaining about what they claimed was some public officials disregard for court orders. It is alleged that an NHIF senior officer defied a court order to pay a health facility in Nakuru County that is amounting to 260 million Kenya shillings. However, the officer defended himself, saying the situation arose because NHIF was transitioning to the SHIF insurance and that the health facility will be included after SHIF commences operation.
Wanaofanya kazi kwa serikali wamechukua mwito wa kutoheshimu court orders, na wakasahau hizo ofisi zenye wako za serikali wanalipwa mshahara na taxpayers money. Na sisi kama wanabunge, mimi kama president wa bunge, nimeamua operation kutoa mall kwa serikali. Siku hizi court orders zimekuwa ni kama karatasi. Court orders zimekuwa haziwezi heshimiwa na mtu wowote.
Tunamrequest president wetu Mheshimiwa Ruto achukue hatua iwezekanavyo, iwe funzo kwa wengine wale ambao wataki kutii sheria.
From the country's capital to Taita Taveta, whereby the county government intends to collect more than 2 million as tax in agreement to export Boran and Sahiwal cattle in the Arabian countries through buyers from Oman. This was discovered while witnessing the loading and transportation of 750 cattle for the first phase, that is at Maungu in Voi constituency. Julius Mariki with the details of that particular story.
The county government of Taita Taveta has witnessed its first export of live bulls to Oman at Maungu holding and loading zone, and we'll be getting an opportunity to hear from the CECM for livestock in Taita Taveta County, Mr. Eric Kiongo, together with the representatives from the Oman and of course the farming or farmers, livestock farmers here in Taita Taveta County.
Ndoto ya gavana wetu mstahiki Andrew Mwadime wa kujaa ni kama imetimia. Amekuwa akisema kuwa anataka kuhakikisha mifugo zetu zinaanza kuuzwa katika masoko ya nchi za nje, na leo tunaona kuwa hapa tuko na mifugo ambayo sasa ina consignment ya kwanza inasafirishwa kwenda nchi za nje, inaenda nchi ya Oman, na tumepata wawekezaji ambao tumeshirikiana na wao na tumekubaliana, na governor amewaahidi kuwapatia mazingira mazuri ya kufanya biashara yao. Na unajaribu kuona kwa hata ng'ombe vile tumekuwa tukisema ardhi yetu ni safi, maeneo yetu hayana magonjwa, na chakula cha hapa, lishe hapa ni nzuri. Unaweza kuthibitisha kwa mifugo ama ng'ombe zenyewe ulizoziona?
Not only are we willing to export to the Middle East, but we're willing to see how we can generate a job opportunity for people here in Taita Taveta. And that will sort of include harvesting the grass, maybe a labor job, all sort of job. So in the end, it will be a big opportunity for Taita Taveta.
This is our first shipment, and hopefully will not be the last. We are planning to export around 200,000 heads of cattle per annum, 1.2 million heads of sheep and goat. And we discussed with Waziri how to set up a new international export quarantine center in this area and region.
So this shipment is like a cooperation between 3 countries, Oman, Qatar and Kenya. This is our first shipment to be exported from Taita Taveta Voi. So we are looking forward for a long-term business between the 2 countries, between all of the countries. We are here to assure that all of the animals are healthy and they are meeting our standard. As we have a quarantine system that follows up the WHO organization standardization system. So this is the first shipment to be exported, and we are looking forward to export the second shipment maybe after 20 days. This relationship between the 3 countries can provide a lot of chances in the county and the country as a whole.
Those are their sentiments, and it's expected that the county government will now start benefiting from the